Food prices will absolutely soar according to these new reports. I have all the details and what's going to cause this right here in the video. Let's get into it and talk through all the details. First off, thanks so much for watching. Will you please make sure to like the video with the big thumbs up button right down below? Also, if you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe as well. Again, with the big subscribe button down below. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your support. And let's get into it and talk about some food and why are these reports suggesting we may see a massive surge in food prices if this one thing does actually happen. Now, according to a couple different reports that are out there, including one that was released by the Idaho Dairymen's Association, said that they have found that 90% of workers within their state are foreign born. In other words, not born in the United States. Well, nationally, according to a separate study by Texas A&M, they found that about 51% of dairy workers are also foreign born. In other words, that's a huge percentage of dairy workers out there. Well, they're actually suggesting that there is some talk out there about possibly not even letting these individuals work in these dairy farm situations anymore. As a result of that, well, according to the statistics here, 90% apparently in Idaho and about 51% nationally. That's like basically everybody, right? I mean, obviously not everybody, but it is a huge percentage of the workers that work in these farming and dairy facilities. As a result of that, they're suggesting that if these people were no longer able to work or were not there to work in these dairy facilities anymore, that we may see prices on, for example, milk alone increase by 90.4%. That's a massive increase in price, right? I mean, that right there is a massive increase in price, okay? Now, that's just milk alone. Now, do you remember a couple years ago when we had all these egg situations? Do you remember that? I was just thinking about that. I was just reading this article here that I'm sharing with you. I was remembering back a couple years ago. I kind of forgot about it, honestly, but do you remember when a dozen eggs was like $9 or $10? That was crazy. It was just a few years ago. And it's nuts. I kind of forgot about that whole situation. Then I started remembering and thought, oh my, yeah, eggs were like super crazy expensive, like literally $10 or $12, $13 for a dozen eggs. Yeah, I don't think anybody was buying eggs during that time. I know that we weren't at that time. I know that we were definitely not doing that. That's way too expensive for something like that. But anyway, they're kind of likening this current situation right here with milk prices and these whole dairy workers and their situation, likening that to the egg situation that we had a few years ago, which was, hey, if we see this happen where these individuals are no longer able to work in these dairy farming situations and helping with milk production, then yeah, we're going to see massive price increases across the board on milk, okay? Now, here's a couple of things that we could see as well. Now, remember, what is also, affected by dairy prices? Well, gee, I don't know, things like cheese and cottage cheese and I don't know what other cool stuff is made with dairy products that taste so yummy, right? There's a ton of things. I mean, obviously, there's a huge dairy section alone in the grocery store, and a lot of that are, byproducts of milk and things like that. So, in order to produce all these different dairy products, a lot of that is derived from milk, right? So not only would it impact milk prices alone, but not only that, we would see it reflected in cheese, which, by the way, is it just me or do you feel like cheese prices are expensive? I don't know. I mean, I'm not like a huge cheese person, but I've recently looked at some prices of cheese and it's like nuts. Like the price of cheese, it's like you get a little block for like $8. It's like, are you kidding me? This little block for $8? But yeah, those are just some examples. But I mean, I never realized how expensive cheese actually is until just recently. I was kind of like, whoa, this is nuts. We probably shouldn't be eating cheese. You know what I mean? We certainly don't need that much cheese around. But anyway, my point is, that's expensive, and that is, again, going to be reflected in this type of situation as well. Quick side note, let me go back and talk about eggs for a second here. Just in the last year, according to this article here, as you probably saw, about a year ago, apparently, according to this article, that a dozen eggs was hovering right around $2 a dozen. Again, I don't really track these prices all that much. To be honest with you, my wife, Corey, she, so grateful for her. She does all the shopping on this stuff. I don't really track the prices on this. Honestly, I don't want to know the prices, because if I did, I would be like, yeah, we don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that. And she'd be like, what are we going to eat this week? And I'd be like, I don't know. Probably nothing, because it's all just way too expensive for me. That's just how I am. So I'd rather not know, just to kind of like save myself a little headache. But anyway, just in the last year alone, a dozen eggs went from $2 up by 85% to $3.82, according to this report here. That's nuts, right? That's nuts. Absolutely nuts. That's crazy. Just egg prices, which, by the way, have you seen some of this information out there? There's like 4 million eggs that are being recalled right now. I have not talked about that in a video, to be fair with you, but I've seen it out there in the headlines. But that's going on. There's this whole bird flu type of situation that I've seen floating around, and that's kind of a concern out there. So, man, I mean, seriously, right? With all the chaos that's happening right now. But I just want to throw this out there really quickly, okay? Now, full disclaimer, no, none of this is happening yet, as in these workers are not being asked to, like, stop working at these dairy farms and stop with dairy production. They're not doing that yet, but there is potential talk of, like, hey, if these individuals, in a hypothetical example, if these individuals were maybe exported or, you know, no longer able to work in this industry for whatever reason, or whatever other circumstances came up, if that were to be the case, then we could see some massive increases in milk prices. They also found here in this article, and I found this to be a little bit interesting, they said that most people say that milk is a portion of their daily staple, like diet. I don't know. Do you drink milk? I'm just curious. It doesn't matter if you do or not. I'm just curious. I'm just kind of really wondering about that because they said that it actually does contain the daily diet of most people. So I'm just kind of curious. But if we include all dairy products, then yeah, 100%, right? I mean, I'm not sure if everybody out there, you know, eats dairy every day, but I think a lot of people in some way, shape, or form, whether it's milk, whether it's cheese on a sandwich, cheese on eggs, cheese on everything, right? Anyway, you get my point, right? So anyway, I hope this helps you a little bit to understand the situation, but I like to watch these things very closely because everything is so highly correlated. I mean, we've talked about this before in other videos. Everything is so highly correlated. One disruption in one industry is going to set off the domino effect into another industry, and then, oops, that industry interrupts another industry, and oh my, here we go, and all the industries are disrupted, and it does not take that much of a disruption in one area of one industry to disrupt the entire industry, and then it just goes on to others and others and others, and it's just this domino effect going on and on, the chain reaction, and it kind of can be disruptive in a lot of ways. And again, the last thing we need right now, let's just all say it together. What's the last thing we need right now? Yeah, you're already saying it, right? Yeah, increases in food price. Exactly. That's the last thing that we need right now is more inflation on things like, food prices, things like that. Yeah, absolutely not. We do not need those anymore. We're absolutely sick of it. And that's just kind of what's happening, right? Especially as of recently when they tell us, oh yeah, food inflation, it's not really a thing anymore. Food inflation over the last 12 months, yeah, it's not even existent anymore. Oh yeah, it's an illusion. You don't even notice anymore. Yeah, there's no food inflation here. Yeah, right. Yeah, just visit the store and just look at anything, right? Yeah, exactly. All right, so anyway, I just wanted to share this with you really quickly. I hope this helps you to some degree to understand what's going on here. And again, I like to bring you this information. I come across so much weird information every single day. There's a lot of it I honestly don't even talk about because it's like, that's really cool. I like learning about that, but I didn't want to talk about it. I like to look at different situations like this, okay? Okay, this. It might not be very... I don't know, it might not be very impactful to a lot of people across the country to some way, shape, or form, like, oh, well, we don't work in the industry, it's not going to impact us. You're right. It may not impact us, directly as workers in the industry. It may impact some, but what happens is if this industry does get impacted by this, then all of a sudden we see this impacted across the entire dairy industry, and now it's going to impact virtually everybody because dairy is in a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of things have dairy in them, right? So anyway, I just want to bring this to your attention, let you know what's going on out there, and just tell you what's going on, what I see out there. So anyway, I hope this helps you to some degree. Again, thank you so much for watching. Really, really appreciate it. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Totally free to do so. Like the video. Thumbs up button down below. Thanks again. Really appreciate that. Otherwise, check out the other videos here on the channel, the 5,000 plus in the video library. The videos I've hand selected for you, the popular ones down below in the description or the top of the comment section. And right now showing up on your screen as well, you'll see some videos there. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Just have a nice day. That's all that really matters these days. Just enjoy yourself. Be happy. Be grateful for something these days. Seriously, right? It's just nuts out there. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. I am beyond grateful for all of you here in this community. Thank you so much. We got to stick together right now and just